It is 1 p.m. Central Standard Time, March 11th, 2021, here in Seagoville, Texas. We want to welcome you to the Dallas Independent School District STEM Environmental Education Center for our virtual field trip. And we want to say a special welcome to Bertie Alexander, Mary Bethune, Highland Meadows, Marcellus Snem, Walnut Hill, and Ruby Young from DeSoto. It's my understanding that the DeSoto High School girls are playing for the state championship tonight. I believe that's right. We want to wish them good luck and thank you, Ruby Young, for joining us today. Teachers, if you're watching and you have not registered, please go to www.tiny.cc/EEC register and sign up, please. We need this for our attendance records. Today, we're going to do patterns in the natural world. During this virtual field trip, students will identify events that have repeating patterns, including seasons of the year and day and night. They will also observe and describe objects in the sky, such as the moon and stars, including the sun. Mr. Monroe will tell you all about seasons. Ms. Ramirez will tell you the difference between day and night. Ms. Nash will talk about clouds, and Ms. Fuller, sun, moon, and stars. You cannot verbally question us during this program, but you can go to www.tiny.cc/EEC /question/answer and send us your question in, and we'll do our best to answer it. And now I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and Mr. Monroe, will tell you about the seasons.
Students, my name is Mr. Monroe, and we're going to be looking at some very special times that happen during the year that we call seasons. And these are very special times when we can notice changes in weather patterns, even changes in plant growth, especially in trees, and even changes in animal behavior. And we call those special times when those things are happening seasons. And it is a pattern and it is a cycle because it happens over and over and over, season after season after season after season. One of the main indicators that a season is changing, there are certain trees that are going to look a certain way. I have some drawings here that I want to share with you today. In fact, these drawings that I have here in my hand, these little cards, they represent a season, each of them. Now, I'm going to show you the first one. And when you look at the first one, it's a drawing of a tree. And that drawing, it looks like the tree is dead. It doesn't have any leaves in it, no leaves. And that will last, probably about 3 months. And then there will be a change. And that change is going to make the tree look like this drawing. And usually when this happens, the tree is going to start growing some maybe white or pink flowers on the branches that we call blossoms. That'll last about 3 months also. And then the beginning of the next 3 months, that tree might look like this. Big green leaves will start popping up all over the branches, okay? And then guess what happens? The leaves will start changing color, maybe red, orange, yellow, maybe some browns, and then the leaves will start falling to the ground. Those very special times when those things happen, we call those seasons. And sometimes even the animals will start acting a little different, their behavior. Squirrels will start collecting nuts and different seeds and pushing them away and storing them in different places. You'll see herds of animals moving from one place to another, ducks flying from the north to the south, all kinds of strange animal behavior. Even some of the animals eventually taking a long nap, going to sleep. Now, we're going to talk a little bit more about what we call seasons. And for me to do that, I'm going to share my screen with you guys and use a short PowerPoint. So bear with me. Four seasons. A season is one of four periods in a year. Each season lasts about 3 months. Each season, there are changes in temperature. That means how hot or cold it is. And that deals with weather, right? Even the length of daylight, the amount of daytime hours. Why do we have seasons? Well, seasons are caused by the Earth's position in relationship to the sun. And as I finish the PowerPoint, I'm going to show you using a model representing the sun and the earth so you can better understand this. The seasons change as the earth moves closer or further away from the sun. Well, it might have a little effect on changing those seasons, but the big thing is I will show you when I do the modeling at the end of the session. Some places don't have seasons at all. And there's a reason why. Because some places are close to the center of the earth near the equator. Now, the equator is an imaginary line that separates the top half of our planet from the bottom half. And all the locations that are on the top half, we call that the northern hemisphere. All the locations that are down below that imaginary line, we call that the southern hemisphere. These places do not move closer or further away from the sun. So those places stay warm all year round. If I was to go visit, or you were to go visit any place along the equator, I don't think you would have to worry about the kind of weather we had about 2 weeks ago. It would be very warm all year round. So, what are the four seasons? Well, we've got autumn, winter, spring, and summer. Remember, there's four of them, and they last about 3 months each. Now, in this image here, that would represent autumn. And you can see that they have something on like sweaters and jackets to kind of keep themselves warm. We come to this image and it represents winter, a snowman. Boy, about 2 weeks ago, I bet some of you, if your parents let you outside, I bet some of you tried to make a snowman, right? But it was very cold out there too, wasn't it? So that represents winter. In this image, we see a bird that has a worm in its beak. And then we see some little birds that are begging, saying, "Mommy, Mommy, please feed me." So the mama bird has brought a worm to feed her babies. And if we look, it looks pretty pleasant. It's not cold. The tree has a few leaves on it. So I would dare say that that probably is spring, during the season of spring. And then we have this image here, and we can see the young lady's ice cream. What is it doing? It's beginning to melt. So I would imagine this represents the season of summer. Now, in autumn, again, what happens? Autumn is called fall because the leaves fall from the trees. And of course, the leaves, basically in this image, have already started changing color. And they change the colors of red, yellow, orange, and brown. The weather begins to get colder or turn colder in autumn. That's why we saw the sweater and the jacket. When winter comes, ooh, man, it starts getting cold. Winter is the coldest time of the year. Snow falls in the winter in most places. But here in Texas, we don't get snow all the time. We were very, very fortunate to get a chance to see snow. And I believe a lot of people were glad to see the snow go this time. because we got a little bit too much and it was a little too cold for most of us because we weren't used to it. Ponds and lakes freeze in the winter, and we have some ponds out here at the Environmental Ed Center, and we've got a lake that's in the preserve, and they froze. Christmas is a holiday that occurs in the month or in the season of winter. You know, our seasons, all of our seasons have some type of holiday in those seasons. Now, spring, guess what? I call it the growing season because in the season of spring, we get lots of rain and the flowers begin to grow in that particular season. The leaves begin to grow on the trees. It's like the trees are waking up. The weather starts to get warmer. Everything that has probably gone into hibernation, like bears and other animals that went into that deep nap, and over in the Post Oak Preserve, we do have snakes, and we got box turtles, and we've got aquatic turtles. And those organisms, those animals, they go into a action or a mode to where they go into a deep sleep, taking a nap while it's cold, and then they awaken when spring comes. Now, when it warms up a little bit more, we probably will see some box turtles and some snakes out in our Post Oak Preserve. And that behavior, we call it hibernating, okay? Summer, wow. Boy, the sun gets bright, and summer is the warmest time of the year. The water gets warm and we can go swimming. Those of you who know how to swim, okay? And there is no school in the summer. Well, I bet some of you will go to summer camps and summer schools this coming summer. Hopefully everything will get back to normal. We can do that. But really, I can remember when there was no school at all during the summer months. Now, there are some things I want you guys to think about and maybe even do as an assignment. First thing I want you guys to do is think about some of the clothes that we wear during each season and think about why, okay? Also, you might draw a picture of the things that occur in each season. In which season is Halloween? Think about that. You might write that down. In which season is Easter, Thanksgiving, or Remembrance Day, or even your favorite holiday? Think about what season it comes in. That will help you remember the seasons. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing my screen now, and we're going to come back and we're going to look at that model that I was telling you about. You guys see this model? This model represents the sun, here's the moon, and then here's the planet Earth. Now, we can see that planet Earth is not setting up straight. It's leaning on what we call its axis. Now, there's an R word that I'm going to tell you about. Now, Ms. Ramirez is going to be talking about another R word, but they are two different axes that cause two different results. This word that I'm talking about is revolving. And what that word means is that the planet Earth, it revolves around the sun. In other words, it orbits. It has an action of traveling around the sun, okay? And the moon also travels around the earth, okay? So that's revolving. This movement, this action causes our seasons. Now, I'm going to back this up. And if you look real close, you can see an X right here. That's the United States. That's where we live. Now, as our planet revolves, we can see because of the angle, the tilt of our planet on its axis, it puts the United States closest to the sun's light and heat energy. And that's what causes the season of summer. As it revolves a little bit more, we can see that it moves the United States further away from the direct light and heat energy from the sun. So that would be the season of fall. As we come here, it's away from the sun's direct and light energy. Now remember, it's spinning, it's going to be spinning too, but because it's away from the sun's direct light and heat energy, it's not getting a lot of it. What season do you think that is? That's winter. And then it spins around and it starts getting a little bit more. That's fall. Then we have spring, summer, and then back to fall, and then winter. And it keeps repeating itself. Now, winter, spring, summer, and fall. And it keeps repeating itself.
And we do have a question. It is, what is the favorite season of people in the United States? Now, there's a very famous poll. A poll is where people go out and talk to other people and get their opinion on things. It's called the Gallup poll. The Gallup poll indicated that fall is the favorite season of the people in the United States. However, another poll indicated that it depends on where you live. If you live up north in Maine or New York or Montana or something, then probably spring is your favorite season because you've had that old cold winter and you're ready for spring to happen. Now, if you live down south, like here in Texas, you probably like fall the best because we've had these old blistering hot summer days and we're looking for some of those cool days of fall or autumn. And now Miss Ramirez is going to tell you the difference between day and night.
Hello, my name is Ms. Ramirez, and we're going to be learning about day and night and what causes day and night. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you guys, and then we'll do a little demonstration to help you guys understand day and night. So let's take a look at our presentation. Hopefully by the end of this presentation, you guys will be able to identify characteristics. So what are things that you see during the day, and what are things that you see during the night? And then you'll also be able to answer what causes day and night. Now, I have a couple of questions for you guys. So what are objects that you might see in the daytime? And then what are objects you might see in the nighttime? If you were to draw a picture of the day sky and the night sky, what would it look like? And think about what are some patterns you might notice. So look at this picture over here. We see that it's daytime, and then it's nighttime, and then it's daytime again. So it's a cycle. And then what are some activities you might do during the day? And then what are some activities you might do during the nighttime? So you can take a moment to pause if you want to draw your pictures of what you might see during the day and night. But I'm going to go ahead and show you some of my own pictures of what we might see during the day and night. So let's take a look at some of these pictures that I took at the Environmental Center where we are today. So think about, what do you guys see? Can you identify any things in this picture? And again, you can pause the video if you want more time to discuss or to observe or look, but I'm going to go ahead and show you guys some things that I see in this daytime sky. So look at the sun over here. So it's kind of almost a partly sunny day. So we have our nice sun shining high in the sky, but I also see a whole bunch of these white things. What do you guys think those white things are? So those are clouds. Some days we see clouds in the sky, some days we don't. So it kind of just depends. And then over here, what do you guys think this is? So that's actually the moon. So you can also see the moon during the daytime too, sometimes, not all the times, but sometimes you're lucky enough to find the moon. So think about, what are some activities that you like to do during the daytime when we have that sun out? Now, it is important to note, let's take a look at our moon. The moon doesn't actually make its own light. So the moon is just reflecting light from the sun. And let's look at the nighttime. What are some things that you guys see in our nighttime picture? Can you guys identify any of the things in this picture? And again, you can pause the video if you want to allow time for discussion, but I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys what I see. Look at this big object in the sky. So that is our very own moon. What do you think these little dots are? So those little dots are the stars. Now, sometimes we have a nice clear sky where we can see the stars. Sometimes we might have a cloudy night where we won't be able to see some stars, but also during the nighttime, you can see things. You might be lucky to see a planet sometimes as well. And think about what are some things you like to do during the nighttime. I know I like to sleep during the night. And I have a quick little challenge for you guys when you are at home. So on a Saturday or on a Sunday, go outside with an adult and watch or observe the sun. So see if you can get an adult to get you to wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning. Go outside and see where is the sun. Then go outside with an adult in the afternoon time, around 12 p.m. in the afternoon, and see if you can find the sun. Where is the sun at 12? Then go back outside with an adult around 7 p.m. and see if you can find the sun. So think about how has the sun changed position throughout the day. So that's pretty cool to look at. And here's a little video that you can see how the sun changes as it moves across the sky. So here's our bright shining sun over here. It actually rises in what we call the east direction. And it's highest in the sky at noon. And then it's slowly going to set in the west. And what do you think is going to happen when that sun starts to set in the west? What's the sky going to look like? So we see as the sun starts to set, it gets dark and we have our nighttime. So I'm going to stop our video. So I encourage you guys this weekend, go outside with an adult and track the sun as it goes across the sky. Now, it is important to note that the sun is not the one that's actually moving. It looks like it is, but it's not. So take a look at this picture over here. We have the sun and we have the earth. Which one is actually moving? So we have our earth over here. Our earth is doing a special motion or movement called rotating. See if you guys can say that big word. So rotating means to spin. So think of some things that can spin. Think of a ballerina spinning on her toes, or think of this toy right here, a spinning top that you might play with. It spins. So what we're going to do next, I'm going to show you a model of the earth spinning or rotating and how that gives us day or night. So let me go ahead and stop my screen share. And we should be back on video now. So here we have the earth. It's a globe. And the globe, our earth, is not straight up and down. It's slightly tilted. And let's look at our lantern. This is going to represent the sun. The sun is so nice and bright. It has a lot of energy and light to it. So we said that the earth rotates. Rotates means to spin. Can you guys see how the earth is spinning? It is spinning around what's called an axis. It's an imaginary line that goes straight through the middle of our planet Earth. And it's that line through which the earth will spin or rotate. So we live, where do we live? We live in Dallas, Texas. So I put an orange dot where we live on our globe. So here we are in Dallas, Texas, and here's our sun. Do you think Dallas, Texas on our globe right now is having daylight or nighttime? And why do you think that? So we know that in our model right here, Dallas is having their daytime because it's in front of the sun. It's experiencing the sun's light. So look at the other side of the planet. Is it dark or light on this side? So hopefully you can see that it's dark on this side. So this side of the planet is having nighttime. So now the earth is spinning, spinning, spinning again. It's rotating, rotating. Now Dallas, Texas is on this side of the planet. So on this side is Dallas, Texas experiencing day or night. So keep in mind our sun's over here. So hopefully you guys said when Dallas is on this side, we're experiencing our nighttime. So when the Earth spins or rotates, that is what is causing day and night. And it actually takes the Earth 1 day or 24 hours to spin one complete time. So the Earth spinning causes day and night. So I have a quick little poem that we are going to act out to help you guys remember that super big word. So you guys can take a moment to stand. We have the sun right here. I'm going to represent the Earth. So if you guys will take a finger and put it on top of your head, that's going to be the axis. Remember that imaginary line that goes through the planet? So put your finger on your head like this, and we're going to rotate or spin just like our planet. And as we spin or rotate, we're going to say a little poem, and you guys can repeat it with me. So here we go. Rotation, rotation. Let's talk about rotation. So let's spin around one more time. Rotation, rotation. Let's talk about rotation. And now we're going to learn another part. Causes day and night. Causes day and night. And the sun going across the sky. And the sun going across the sky. So that's just a little poem to help you guys remember that rotation is just a big word for spinning. And it's that spinning that causes day and night. So now we're going to give it back to Dr. Gorman, and he's going to answer any questions.
Thank you. Yes, we did have a question. And since it's winter on December the 21st in the Northern Hemisphere, and it's summer on December the 21st in the Southern Hemisphere, is it day on December the 21st in the North and night on December the 21st in the Southern Hemisphere? And the answer is no. If they're on the same time zone, they will both either be day or they will both be night. And now Miss Nash is going to tell us about clouds, just like we have today.
Welcome to my classroom. Today we're going to be talking about clouds. And clouds are so interesting and sometimes they're so beautiful. And today, if you look outside, you can see kind of gray, low clouds. Looks like it might even rain. Let's see if we can look at some pictures of clouds and think about what they do. And then we can even make a cloud. Okay, there we go. So I went outside one day and the sky was so beautiful. I could see those beautiful high clouds all around. There's a poem that I thought of, and it's right here. And you can read along with those who can. It says, white soup, on a blue hill. When the wind stops, you all stand still. When the wind blows, you walk away slow. White sheep, where did you go? It's a nice poem. But what do you think they're talking about? The white sheep on a blue hill. Are they really talking about sheep or are they talking about clouds? The blue hill is the sky. Look at those beautiful clouds. And then another day I went out and you see those gray clouds. Okay, it's in the rain. You see that gray. It means they have got rain in them. And here you can see the wind blowing them around. Look at that. Looks like a tornado. It's just a wind. It's really strong and blowing those clouds around. The wind blowing the branches all around too. And then when the sun goes down, we can have beautiful colors in the sky. And here, this cloud, see how gray it is right there? And you can see the rain coming down out of that cloud. Okay. So up in the mountains, you can see a long, long way, and you see way, way out there, there are different clouds. And look at those beautiful clouds. And here with that rain coming down again, and more sunset. So some beautiful clouds. Now, we have three main kinds of clouds, and I drew some pictures. The kind we have out there today are called stratus. And those are kind of in layers, and they often are low, and they may bring rain. My favorite kind are called cirrus, and these are really high, and they look like kind of like horsehair, horsetail. And then the kind we see in the summertime usually are called cumulus, and those are the big puffy ones. And if they get dark underneath, then they can bring rain and big storms because they go up super high. Now, what causes clouds? Clouds are caused when water evaporates. Okay, so if I leave a bowl of water out for a couple of days, it'll go away. I didn't drink it. The cat didn't drink it. It evaporated. And that means evaporation means that water changed into vapor or part of the air. And it goes up in the air. If it goes up high enough where it's cold, it condenses, condensation, and it can become a cloud. So I can make a cloud with my little apparatus here. And I've got a plastic bottle and this funny thing on top. And when I squeeze it, I'm squeezing more air into the bottle. As I squeeze more and more, it gets harder and harder to squeeze. And then finally, I can barely squeeze it off. So it's time to stop. Now, as I squeeze more air in there, it gets hot. And then when I let go, I open it up again, it made a cloud because it cooled off, it condensed, it made a cloud. And you can do the same thing. Remember when we had our cold weather a couple of weeks ago? And if you went outside, I hope you were all bundled up and all in hats and gloves and sweaters, everything you had. But when we went outside, if you take a deep breath and then breathe out, you can make a cloud. The air coming out of your lungs is hot. The way the air in my bottle got hot. The air coming out of your lungs is hot. And then when you breathe out, it hits that cold air and it cools off and it condenses and makes a cloud. So you can make your own cloud, but only on a cold day. You can also do some cloud observation, and then you can do some drawings like I did. Or you can take a cotton ball and some glue and a blue piece of paper, and you can make some clouds, and you can look at the clouds today and tomorrow and make different pictures of different clouds on different days. It's a fun thing to observe. You can also just tear white paper and glue it on blue paper and make another cloud picture. So a fun thing to observe and think about.
No, Miss Nash, where did you get that cloud making machine? And the answer to that is Carolina Biological. And I'm sure there are other places too, but you can buy it through Carolina. So if your teacher's interested in using one of those for a classroom demonstration, she probably or possibly does know about Carolina. If not, you be sure and tell her. And now, Miss Fuller's going to talk about the moon, the stars, and the sun.
Hello, boys and girls. My name is Mrs. Fuller. Have you ever looked up at the sky and wondered what those things are up in the sky, especially in the night sky or maybe the day sky? Well, we're going to talk about things that are very far away from the Earth. So let me share my screen with you. And we're going to talk about the moon, the stars, and the sun. What do we see in the sky? So look at these pictures. You see the stars on the left-hand side and the moon on the right-hand side. Have you ever gone at nighttime and looked at the sky and seen the stars or seen the moon? That's very important. An important part of being a scientist is observation. Now let's talk about the moon first. Our moon is a natural satellite of the Earth. Our moon is named Luna. The moon has no light of its own, but it reflects the light of the sun. The moon rotates and revolves around the Earth at the same time. So because of that, we only see one side of the moon. It's the side that the picture shows you right there. If you'll look at the dark places, Those dark places are big fields of volcanic basalt. And some people, when they look at that, they see a rabbit. So let me show you the rabbit. Here's the rabbit's head and the rabbit's long ears. Here are the rabbit's front legs. Here's the rabbit's body. Here are the rabbit's hind legs, and following behind the rabbit's puffy tail. So it looks like the rabbit is jumping over the moon. Quite a few different cultures around the world see a rabbit when they look on the moon. Other cultures see buffalo or a woman or a man. Maybe someone has said to you, look, it's the man in the moon. So some people see a man's face when they look at the moon. And the moon changes its phases, changes its phases. Um, and so every night for a month, you can look at the moon and see something different every time. The one we're looking at right now is called the full moon. Here are some stars. These particular stars form a constellation. Before people had TV and cell phones and video games and electricity, they used to go out at night and look at the sky, and they would see pictures in the sky, very similar to them looking at the moon and seeing a picture of a rabbit on the moon. So this is a very famous constellation. In Japanese, it's called Subaru. In English, we call it the Pleiades or the Seven Sisters. And it's very, very far away. We could never go there, but it's also very pretty. So we've got millions and millions, trillions of stars in the sky for us to look at, and they're very, very far away, except for one star. That one star is our sun. The sun is the center of our solar system, and it's what gives us light and heat. I have a short little video for you to watch. I always think when I look at this picture, this is the surface of the sun. What I think of is caramel corn. It looks like caramel corn to me. I'm going to play for about 1 minute of this video for you, so listen carefully.
Stay put for world-ending coronal mass ejections, real video of the sun's surface with sound, and incredible images of our sun as you've never seen it before. At the center of our solar system is the one thing that has made life on our world possible, the sun. A blazing ball of plasma radiating heat and light, with structures as large as the state of Texas, propelled by convection currents around its surface, and a mass so large it keeps every object in our solar system spinning around. In today's video, we're going to explore the mysteries of the biggest object in our nearby space and show you the sun as you've never seen it before. We all know that the sun is the most important part of our solar system. Not only do all of the planets orbit it, without the sun, we would not have the light or warmth to sustain life on planet Earth. But while the sun is a good thing for us on Earth, getting much closer would be a pretty bad idea.
Okay, why do you think it'd be a bad idea to get close to the sun? I think the reason is because it's too hot. So the Earth is just perfect. The planets that are closer to the sun are too hot, and Mars, which is the next planet away from us, is too cold. But Earth is just right, just like Goldilocks. All right.
Stay put for.
Oops. Okay, now the sun has layers, just like the Earth has layers. In the middle is the core. In the core, nuclear fusion takes place. Most of the sun is composed of hydrogen, about 70% hydrogen and about 28% helium. And the hydrogen in the center of the sun, in the core, is being fused together to form helium. And then we have the radiative zone, and then the convection zone, then the photosphere, that's what gives us the light, and the chromosphere. Chromo means color, and then beyond that is the corona. We only see it when there's a total eclipse of the sun. So there's the sun, and what do we get from the sun? we get light and heat. So I'm going to leave my screen, stop sharing, and I'm going to show you a little demonstration that you can do uh, at your home or there at school. Um, I'm going to show you a poster. This poster behind me talks about how the moon was formed. Remember, the slide told us it's a natural satellite. Well, 4.5 billion years ago, it was a really long time ago, there was another planet called Theia. And this is a theory, it's not been proved, but they think it's pretty right. The planet Theia, which is about half the size of the Earth, knocked into the Earth and knocked Theia into a lot of pieces and knocked a big chunk off of the Earth. And this debris was around the Earth, and everything was still kind of hot back then. And so I'm going to show you what happened. Do you see these little pieces? Kind of looks like scrambled eggs, doesn't it? Well, these are like the pieces that of debris from Theia and the Earth, and they started knocking into each other. And guess what happened after all those years of knocking into each other? They started to clump together. And that clump formed the moon. And when the Apollo 11 astronauts went to the moon, they took samples of the moon soil and moon rocks, and they came back and examined them. And guess what? It was very similar to Earth material. So if you have a little piece of Play-Doh, your teacher can help you break it into little pieces, and you can do that motion on a plate and causing it to stick it together. The big science word for that is called accretion. So that's your big science word for the day, accretion. And that's how the moon formed. So I'm going to turn this back over to Dr. Gorman. If you have any questions about the sun, the stars, or the moon, he'll be glad to answer them. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Ms. Fuller. And the question is, how large is the sun, the moon, and the earth? I want to make sure I get these figures right. Okay, the diameter of the sun is 432,690 miles. Now, you know, we think 100 miles is a long ways. That's 432,000 plus miles. Okay, now on the moon, it's 1,079 and 4/10 of a mile diameter. And the earth is 3,958.8 miles. So you can see how much bigger the earth is than the moon, but then look how much bigger the sun is than everything. Now I am going to share my screen. During this field trip, students scheduled events. Let me make this larger. Thank you. Students identified events that have repeating patterns, including seasons of the year, day and night. They also observed and described objects in the sky, such as the moon and the stars, and including the sun. Mr. Monroe did a program on seasons. Mr. Maris told you the difference between day and night. Miss Nash discussed clouds, and sun, moon, and stars were identified by Mrs. Fuller. Thank you. Teachers, how did we do? If you would, go to www.tiny.cc/EEC feedback, fill that out and send it back to us. We would appreciate it because we want to know what you think about our program. Thank you. Have a great day. Students, most importantly, have a great life.